Well, adding a new dimension to the ongoing war in West Asia, the U.S. has announced that it will deploy its high-altitude anti-missile system and its American crew in Israel.
It will mark the first time that U.S. military personnel would be deployed in combat in Israel during the current crisis. The United States has said that it will deploy a Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, system to Israel. The Pentagon on Sunday issued a statement saying Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has authorized the deployment at the direction of President Joe Biden.
Biden said he agreed to deploy the THAAD battery to defend Israel.
Why did you decide to give the permission for the THAAD to be deployed in Israel?
To defend Israel.
Any worries about it?
Any Israeli retaliatory attack is expected to provoke a counter-strike from Iran, and a THAAD battery could be used to intercept Iranian missiles. It would be operated by American forces on the ground and mark the first time that a U.S. military personnel would be deployed in combat in Israel during the current crisis, as mentioned before.
U.S. troops have already been deployed in Gaza to build a humanitarian pier and also to man air defenses from neighboring Iraq and Syria, but they have not been engaged in combat in Israel so far. Biden has previously said that he has no plans or intention to put U.S. boots on the ground in combat. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also insisted that his country would defend itself with its own resources. But this move, if brought to action, would underscore the extent of U.S. support for Israel.
Biden told Netanyahu on a phone call earlier this week that the U.S. will maintain its ironclad commitment to Israel's security. But he also urged him to end attacks on civilians in Lebanon.
THAAD deployment would add to Israel's complex missile defenses that include the Iron Dome, David's Sling and Arrow systems. Now, THAAD is considered complementary to the Patriot systems, but it can defend a wider area. It strikes targets at ranges of 150 to 200 kilometers. It is designed to intercept short, medium and intermediate range ballistic missiles. The system uses hit-to-kill technology to intercept missiles during the final phase of flight.
It relies on kinetic energy rather than a warhead to destroy incoming missiles. The U.S. announcement comes as Iran issues a stern warning to Israel, saying that the country will have no red lines in protecting its people and interests, and that it is fully ready for a war situation.
We advise the Zionist regime not to test the willpower of the Islamic Republic of Iran. If any attack is carried out against our country, our response will be more powerful than before.
And well, to talk more on this, we're now being joined by Adrian Calaman. He's a fellow at Arabian Peninsula Institute, Terrorism and Middle Eastern Scholar. He's also the author of forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Welcome to World DNA, Mr. Calaman. Now, any move of the THAAD missile system to Israel would involve deployment of U.S. troops, which is the first time where U.S. troops would be deployed in combat. This despite Iran warning U.S. against keeping its forces outside Israel. I want to ask you that how do you see this deployment of American troops in Israel further inflaming tensions in West Asia?
Thank you for having me, Aisha. I think this is a logical move. You see the United States has been playing defense. We do have several warships parked in the Red Sea that have been intercepting missiles, drones that have been coming from the Houthis in this conflict, which are ordered by the Islamic Republic. And we've seen the Islamic Republic now. And I think we have to remember that before October 7th, the neighboring nations that have proxies in them run by the Islamic Republic, they had not launched a ballistic missile at Israel. The game has changed now. The Islamic Republic is more than willing to. They've demonstrated that twice now. The Houthis as well. You also can have strikes coming from inside Iraq and Syria. So this is needed. One of the big fears is that the Islamic Republic if they do at some point, and they have launched some serious volleys where you're talking 300 missiles, drones, etc. But if they were to try it, one of the greatest fears is that they would try and overwhelm all the defenses. David Sling, the Arrow System 1 and 2, as well as the Iron Dome. So the THAAD serves as an adjunct or a complement to the defensive systems that are in place right now.
And that being said, we know that U.S. has also gone for diplomatic solutions as well, but now after this step, do you see that America is now going forward to involve itself in a war with Iran as well?
Well, that's a great question, Chelsea. And that's one that I'm actually asking myself. Is the U.S. finally resigning itself to the inevitable, that Israel has to act here, they are going to act, and Israel needs to be protected as well? That Biden has said in the past that the Islamic Republic should not and cannot be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. And the use of military force is not off the table. He's kind of backpedaled on that. So are they resigning themselves to saying, well, let's let the Israelis do it? We don't have the political will to do something like this. So what we'll do is we'll provide them the defense after the fact.
Mr. Kalman, we've seen in the past few weeks that U.S. has time and again urged Israel to pivot from military action towards diplomacy. But with the U.S. now strengthening Israel's military prowess with the THAAD deployment, essentially, where exactly will this pressure come from on Israel? Because we've seen that there are growing concerns in West Asia of an all-out war.
Yeah, well, that's the big problem is everybody's talking about a diplomatic solution here. And with Hezbollah, I'm sorry, they've been trying for diplomatic solutions for years. There was a diplomatic solution in 2006, UN Security Resolution 1701, that hasn't been enforced by UNIFIL, by the international community. So the diplomatic solution failed miserably there. Diplomatic solutions do not work with the Islamic Republic. They use them to their advantage. Diplomacy is just a tool that they use against Western nations. So pressure should be applied on the Islamic Republic, and that's where the pressure needs to be. So if there's not enough pressure on the Islamic Republic diplomatically, economically, then you hit them where they hurt the most, and that's going to be what they care the most and dear to, and that's developing a nuclear weapons program to threaten Israel and threaten everybody around them, nuclear blackmail, and also their petrochemical and oil industry. That's how you weaken the regime, and the Iranian people will rise up against the regime because they've been held hostage. You have about 75 million Iranians being held hostage by about 5 million.
Right, and we know that well, we've been seeing Israel has been thinking of different ways to retaliate to Iran with the deployment of THAAD. Do you think that U.S. has given a green light for Israel to go and attack in Iran?
It would. Great question. It would appear that way. It would appear that way. I can't disagree with that. Me reading that saying the Israel. Maybe the Biden administration's tried to say you can't do this. Israel said we're doing it one way or another. And this is the Biden administration saying, okay, you're going to do it. We understand this is out of your own self-interest. We'll protect you. But we're not going to put any offensive capabilities into the battlefield with the Islamic Republic.
Right, Mr. Kalman, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA with your insights.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.